Hi, my name is Kate-Madonna Hindes Quast. I was a victim of domestic violence. There was a lot of organizations and people that helped me in my domestic violence journey. But by far, 360 Communities in the Lewis House was the one that helped me find my voice. I live in a community where I think people assume that domestic violence doesn't happen. And when I told so many of my neighbors, they didn't believe me at first. My ex-husband was really, really good at isolating me. So I didn't believe me until 360 came along and helped show me that I deserved different and saved my life. At every step of the way, I felt supported and that I could get through it, even when I was terrified. In 3 years, I've come from holes in my walls in this home to being in a really safe, kind, beautiful place that I could have never have imagined. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I grew up in a home where my mom and my dad were very strict. And I got the perception, I found out later in life as I went through counseling, that love was being strict. Love meant rules. And so when my abuser started having rules, that reflected my childhood, and it was easy for me to accept. Don't leave the house became, okay, he wants to protect me. As a multi-time cancer survivor, it put me in a position to be taken advantage of. I thought that I was kept home during the coronavirus and COVID because I was so loved. And it turned out that I was kept home because he didn't want me to leave the house. But he used cancer and the fear of me getting sicker as the reason I wasn't allowed to leave my home. I wasn't even allowed to go to Target. My ex-husband was a bully. In the beginning, I thought it was my fault. I wanted to save my marriage because I really had no idea I was being abused. My heart knew it wasn't normal, but my brain wasn't willing to go there yet. So it took my community to get me to a safer place. I couldn't have gotten safe without 360 Communities. I was believed and I was honored and I was supported by 360. Being believed is everything. It is the start of healing. It is the start of a different life. John is a person that is really, really good and really kind and really calm and really authentic and holding space for anyone going through something. John has taught deep empathy in our home, which I think has dramatically healed us. My kids bring me tremendous, tremendous joy. There's room for everybody to be loved here.
I grew up in Minneapolis. It was in a lot of ways a very typical childhood, and in other ways challenging. My dad was very controlling and manipulative, and I really developed that sense of needing to please and pay attention to people's moods and feelings to navigate the day. My ex-wife is probably cut from the same cloth that my dad was. A lot of walking on eggshells and kind of cushioning life around her so she didn't blow up. We were married for a really long time, and I had grown up so good at those skills that that was just normal to me. Part of my thought process when I was thinking about leaving my abusive marriage was, at first I felt like I was going to fail my kids. And with the help of my therapist, I came to believe that this was an opportunity to model for them something different. If you were being disrespected or mistreated, you could walk away from a situation like that. Domestic violence really is a cycle, and you don't just break the cycle by getting out of it. Part of breaking the cycle of domestic violence is making the healthy relationship something that our kids are familiar with, so they know the difference.
If we do our jobs right, we're preparing the kids to be healthier, right? We're preparing the kids to not get into the relationships that we did. We want them to see something more fun and silly and respectful. As time has passed, the kids have really adapted to that. They're gentler and kinder, and there's more hugs. And we ask them all the time, what do you like most? And they say that we're not yelling.
We can have a house where fear and anger don't rule. We can have a house where we can disagree respectfully. We can have a house where we can say, like, I'm really frustrated with you, or I'm really disappointed in you, and I still love you. You're still good and safe. One of the things that I find most attractive about Kate is, she's been through this incredibly difficult journey, but she also is always thinking about how to use her experience to help other people not be in the same situation. She's just not the kind of person who pulls the ladder up behind her, but instead tries to point the way.
I learned a long time ago through this process that radical peace is way more important than restorative justice, right? I can't chase everything that was taken away from me, but I can build a life and a future of peace and calm and kind, and raise 4 beautiful children that choose and experience different, and that is the ultimate reward for everything that we've gone through. I hope that when the kids are older, they carry with them that relationships should be safe and families should be safe. Good relationships and committing to healing can change our lives.